But there's something closer to our hearts, and it's testosterone. In 1940s, it was the first study on like men's testosterone, right? So before that, we didn't actually have like the testing or whatever it was. So 1940s is the first real blood test for testosterone. They had more than double our rates today. Easily over 1,000 nanograms per deciliter. And of course, there's other metrics to look for: free testosterone, SHBG, but just by a rough metric, they had about double. The average young man today, roughly 20 years old, guess what our numbers are? 409 to 558 nanograms. So about 500. That's what our numbers were. Our great-grandfather's testosterone was above 1,000. Ours are about 500. And it gets even more extreme than this because guess what? Our great-grandfather's testosterone levels that we look up to, that we think like we want to get there, theirs was actually low. Because at that same time was the first reportings of problems of low testosterone, libido problems, lack of motivation, anxiety, depression, and erectile dysfunction. All of these problems literally shot up around the 1950s, and this is when they were finally being reported. And extra proof of this, which is so interesting, thousands of years ago, just recently, there's a certain job word for this, paleontologist or whatever it is. Like, like people go and they go find bones of like cavemen and they like excavate them and they research them and stuff, right? They found that the bones of men thousands of years ago were significantly different than they are today. Like our skull shape was genuinely like, it looked like very similar to like, I've not watched the movie, but Thanos of the Avengers or whatever movie he's in, like this ultra masculine, like thick looking bony face, like this big looking face. That's what human male skulls used to look like thousands of years ago. They used to look so much more bony, and probably what a lot of researchers online are saying is because of higher levels of testosterone. And this is literally called the feminization of bone structure. Our bones are literally looking more feminized over thousands of years. And of course, there's other reasons to this. We eat softer foods and everything, but it seems to be the case that testosterone and hormones would play a huge role to this. Now, you remember the modern levels I spoke to you about 500 nanograms per deciliter is about what's average and normal these days, right? That's what most guys are at. Roughly around 500, and there's hope, because there is the hope, right? This video just seems like fear-mongering right now, but I want to empower you slightly and give you some positivity, because the average is about 500, but that is literally the average. Think about the modern man. He's included in this like average, right? So that's the guy who doesn't get sunlight. That's the guy who doesn't even drink enough water, who doesn't eat high-fat food because from an early age, most likely because of his parents' ignorance, and also his fat doctor's ignorance. He's been eating low-fat diet with higher sugar. He's been told that cholesterol is bad for him, even though testosterone's made from cholesterol. He's been told to keep his fat intake low. He's been told he works a job where there's no sunlight, there's no competition. He's been told to whittle his masculine energy, his sexuality. Don't look at a woman like this. Don't treat women like this. So there is potential for us. We should probably be closer to 1,000, right? Even 1,000 is when like the first problems did come, but we should probably aim closer to about 1,000 nanograms per deciliter, and the equivalent of that, of like a good, like sort of upper limit of free testosterone and everything. And if you've seen this online on YouTube, you probably have seen like a bunch of testosterone videos, and this is where it gets interesting, because everyone online focuses on ways to increase testosterone, don't they? You hear this with supplements, testosterone replacement therapy, even full-blown steroids. This is what people are talking about online. Wrong. I think we should be spending more than 90% of our time figuring out what is destroying our testosterone and trying to save ourselves from that. Because you can take the supplements and it's nice. Yeah, they'll probably do something. You can, like, research all these weird extra testosterone exercise protocols. Okay, so, Dr. Huberman said if we do 10 times 10 squats, that might give us, you can do all these things, and that is nice, but there's a huge reason why your testosterone is absolutely messed up in the first place. And any of these little increases you can do, it's like trying to run faster and looking for like a better shoe to run in when there's literally like a fucking goblin pulling you back. Let's push the goblin off first. Why are we trying to run faster when there's little creatures like literally pulling us back? Like we've got a weighted ball on our leg and we're like, should I run with my hands open like this or like this? Oh yes. It's like these are minor things. There's something that is drastically messing us up. And I think it's what we're going to discover today. It is estrogenics, estrogen. So estrogen is a normal sex hormone inside of us. It's something that's produced in both men and women. And the levels that men and women produce are supposed to be very different, but these days actually they're very similar. 20 picograms per deciliter. A lot of men are surpassing that, and a lot of women's estrogen is actually like not too far from there, like 50, 100. A lot of men are at 40, 50. It's not so much that estrogen is a problem, because it's something that is supposed to be inside of us. It's that there are things that are classed as estrogenic. And essentially what that means is there are literally man-made things around us, all around us, that are estrogenic, which essentially means like they act in a way that increases your estrogen inside of you. I'm from the UK. And if you're from the UK, you probably can relate to this story. If you're not, maybe you didn't experience this. But we've got to speak about big milk, the milk companies, like literally the cow's milk companies, because from what I remember, bro, I remember being 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, going to primary school, and in every single day at around 12 o'clock, our teachers would come in with a whole tray of cartons of milk, and they'd give them all out, milk, to every student, to every little kid, primary school age kid. Carton of milk for you, carton of milk for you, carton of milk. This was about 19, 18 years ago. Early, like 2000s. And it was all over, like the common belief, at least here and probably in your country as well, the common belief was that milk was amazing, especially for young children, because it gave you strong bones because of the calcium inside of it. It turns out milk actually doesn't even have like significant calcium in the first place, actually. But every single day at 12 o'clock, little Hamza's getting the little carton of milk from his teacher with a little plastic straw. It's got 20 grams of sugar inside of it. And it's got estrogen inside of it. Every single day at 12 o'clock, 5 times a week, and even at home, because milk's really good for you. And you know, our parents heard this bullshit. Milk is great for children. Strong bones, strong bones, strong bones. The milk companies did amazing, and they convinced schools and governments and parents to make milk into something that is in every household. And every single day, plastic straw, 20 grams of sugar, estrogen inside of the carton. You think this is maybe a bit silly, right? Well, actually, there's studies that have found that there are extremely high levels of cow estrogen in the urine of all boys, all 100% of boys who drank whole milk that was literally from a normal grocery store. A group of boys are given literally milk from a store, like a normal store. They're given that milk, they drink it. They literally found high levels of estrogen inside of all of their urines, and then they did a testosterone test 1 hour after drinking the milk. Significant decrease in testosterone. That significant decrease could be just because of the fact that they've ingested some calories, and testosterone seems to go down when you eat really anything, just for a little while whilst your body processes it. But it's like, okay, but they also saw higher levels of estrogen as well. Every study that I mention, I've learned this from a book called Estrogeneration. I'll mention it below as well. Let's go back to fertility right now. There's a few problems we've got to talk about. So remember at the start of this video, I told you about that study with the fish. They infected them for 7 days with estrogenic stuff, and then their fertility was literally messed up generations later. Fertility is a weird thing for us to really think about, because, you know, we're somewhat young. We're probably not expecting to really have children right now. We want to work on our finances and self-improvement first, right? But you may have heard of the statistic that men's sperm counts have decreased by 50%. Have you heard that before? Men's sperm count. So sperm is like the thing that actually would go and make the baby. So we have the sperm, the woman has like the egg, the sperm fertilizes the egg. When we nut, there's like millions of sperm inside of each like time that we bust. And the idea is that you actually need like those millions inside, because each one is absolutely tiny, like literally microscopic. Little, like the way that they look have been described as like there's a little head and like a tail. You can probably imagine what a sperm looks like. You've probably seen a picture somewhere. It's like a little head and a tail, right? This is really important. Our sperm is becoming deformed. I know this seems weird, and I know this could seem a bit goofy or something, but this is actually... Just take this seriously for a second. Our sperm, the thing that our balls produce, that's inside of like... I'm not trying to like get demonetized, but you get what I mean, right? It's the thing that our balls produce that when we do ejaculate, that's what is unleashed. Our sperm is becoming deformed. 50% decrease in the last generation. This seems so hard for us to comprehend the problem of this. We've heard this statistic. It doesn't really doesn't seem to mean much. What this actually means is that sperm that's supposed to have this tail and then the head, the reason why it's particularly shaped in a way is so that it can actually swim and get to the egg, and it essentially impregnates the woman that you're with. When it's deformed, it can't swim right. And I know this seems like, just weird to talk about. That's literally your son. That's literally like the start of your child. And our sperm is deformed to levels we've never seen before, that your sperm literally sometimes will have two heads. Your sperm, the tail will be bent, or it won't have a tail. It seems weird to talk about this, right? Because it's some like microscopic thing that we've never actually seen, like, real before, right? And we're not really expecting to have children right now. But imagine 10 years down the line from now. Imagine 5-10 years from now, you've done really well with your self-improvement. You've been working so hard. You've run on monk mode for multiple months and years since then. Business has actually taken off. Career's doing really well. And you actually meet the woman that you genuinely think to yourself, like, she would actually be a great mother. And your family is supportive. And it's like, oh shit, like, it's actually time. And imagine the announcement you're going to make when genuinely you're going to become a father. When you get the positive test and you go for like the IV scan and you literally hear your child's heartbeat. Right now, this seems like some weird thing that we can't really imagine, but like there's going to be a time when you hear your child's heartbeat inside of your woman. And then imagine if you hear screams from the toilet. And your wife's shit blood. Blood everywhere. And it turns out that she's actually had a miscarriage. And a miscarriage essentially means that she was pregnant, but the baby died inside of her. Miscarriages happen for many reasons, but they're becoming a lot more common. Like literally women who get pregnant and the baby dies inside of them. And oftentimes, if it's late enough in the pregnancy and the baby's big enough, your woman needs to give birth to it still. Like literally give birth to a baby that she knows has already died. I've only seen this with one woman. And I've seen her break down in like a primal cry. And maybe the reason why this could happen to any one of us in the future is because our sperm's all fucked up, but it just ended up impregnating the egg. And that was maybe why. I know this is like something weird and serious to think about, but like, we're quite young right now. We're not really expecting to have children right now, but like, there's going to be a time when we want to have children. And the smart men think long term, don't they? The smart men, if you want to be successful in your business or in career or whatever it is, you think long term. And so we should be thinking 5-10 years down the line, making sure that we are like fit and like we have our sexual health so that we then can actually go and have children should we want them. And if you're unsure, if right now you're thinking I'm not really sure anything, but like if I want to have kids in the future, wouldn't you rather give your future self the choice? Wouldn't you rather, so that he can actually think, yeah, sure, do I want kids or not? Rather than thinking like, yeah, right now I don't really want them, it'd be a distraction. So yeah, if my sperm is kind of messed up, it doesn't even matter because then that means I can't get some random girl pregnant. Okay, yes, I understand what you're saying. But is there like a 5% chance that in 5-10 years your future self would probably want to have children? Is there a 5% chance that you'll want to have kids at some point in the future? Probably. And so it's worth us just like taking this seriously. So estrogenics are things that are literally like coming from man-made stuff, man-made items, and it kind of impacts our body in a way that, in the same way that estrogen does. I won't go into the very exact science, I'd probably end up butchering it, and of course like someone will comment and say like, oh, actually that's not true, but it's like, in a very simple way, a lot of things in our modern day are estrogenic. That just means that they'll spike our estrogen in a bad way, in a simple explanation. What are the things that do this? There's a lot. Plants, literally just like vegetables and stuff. Some of them are very estrogenic, and it's the ones that you actually know about, but have been debated recently, like soy. Soy is extremely estrogenic. There's a lot of people who argue against it and everything, but apparently it's like extremely estrogenic. Then it's the herbicides. It's like the stuff that they put on plants. Like they drop it onto plants to make sure the plants grow well, that there's no contamination when they're growing vegetables and stuff. That's estrogenic. Then soaps and fragrances, literally like toiletries. Then plastics, literally just, like when I first heard this, I thought, okay, probably some kind of plastic or something, right? Literally just plastics. Plastics just in general are estrogenic. And plastics, if you didn't realize, they are absolutely everywhere, and they don't decompose. You can't really burn them to get rid of them because that emits horrible gases. Plastics, when they are made into a plastic bottle, it will literally stay in this world like for a very long time. You can't really get rid of it. Literally, like, this blew my mind. Literally just plastics, not some certain kind. You've heard BPA free. We spoke about that before, right? BPA free. So that's what you're thinking right now. Okay, but I'll just get some BPA free. No. BPA free is a cope. BPA free is exactly like some food products saying fat free. You're quite educated now. When something says fat free or low fat, that it's a cope, don't you? Because if they've taken the fat is extremely healthy for us. If they've taken the fat out of Greek yogurt, why have they processed it like this? They've taken the fat out and it's gonna taste horrible. And so what they do is they put in chemicals and sugar instead. The rise of like fat-free food products is exactly linear to the rise of like pretty much every fucking health disease, because we're supposed to have extremely high levels of fat in our diet. When you see fat-free in any food product, it's a cope. When you see BPA-free, it's a cope. You know why? Because when they don't put in the BPA, which is just one type of chemical that is in plastics, they then just put in other ones, which are usually worse. There's BPS, BPAS, there's phthalates, like literally. So when they say BPA, it's still a cope. Any company that says BPA, it's literally still a cope. What you need is genuinely either a label that says estrogenic-free, which I've never seen in my life before. Have you ever seen like something that says estrogenic free? Like you say BPA free and stuff, fine. You've probably never seen estrogenic free. I've never seen that before, right? Or in terms of plastics with BPA and everything, you genuinely need to just like not touch plastics, not use plastics. Like it blows my mind. Just plastics. They're everywhere. The casing of this camera is plastic. This computer mouse is plastic. The phone case that you're holding is plastic. Sometimes you have plastic cups that you drink water from, plastic water bottles, plastic plates, plastic keyboard, plastic little extensions here, plastic pens, bro. Look, just literally like almost like a horror movie. Look around and I guarantee you're gonna see a bunch of plastic stuff for a few seconds. Just do that, right? And then stop, and I guarantee if you counted how many you just saw, there's probably 10, right? I guarantee if you took the time today and counted how many plastic things you have in your room, there'd be over 100. The more you look, the more you realize, like I'm looking on top of my desk, right? And I'm like, oh yeah, this is plastic, this is plastic. And then you zoom out and you're like, the casing of the desk is plastic. There's plastic on the computer chair. That's estrogenic. And once you start to look into this, right now I seem crazy, but once you start to look into this, you should do your own research, and soon I'll tell you like where to look into and stuff if you're interested in this topic. You're going to start to feel crazy. And one other big thing that is extremely estrogenic and extremely problematic is EE2s. EE2 is just a chemical that's coming from, remember we spoke about it, the birth hormone, the contraceptive. So it's literally like the pill that girls take. So they take the pill every single day for whatever reason they want to. And it means they can't get pregnant and everything. It genuinely kind of messes their hormones significantly. To think about it, they're taking a pill. Just imagine this, right? They're taking a pill that literally stops them from being able to get pregnant. We're kind of like, we know this technology, we know this like medicine or something, right? We know it now, but just think about what's going to happen inside of a woman for that to actually be like successful. It destroys their hormone profile. And when they pee, it is excreted. And it's not like I don't know about you, but I always had the perception that like our water would be incredibly clean because, you know, like, oh yeah, the government just fixes it. The government just cleans it. And it's true, if you live in like a developed country, there is a pretty good like water filtration system. You know, like we shit in the toilet, but like you don't get shit in your water or anything, right? So they've got things like chemicals that destroy like, you know, bacteria and everything, and all the waste gets filtered out, so we get essentially clean water. But it's got chemicals and hormones. Hormones can't really be filtered out because hormones are extremely, like from my understanding, extremely small molecules, and they can't be like killed by chemicals or heat or anything because hormones can't be killed, they're not alive. It's just like literally molecules. So it's problematic. We literally have women all around the world, like a lot, like the use of the pill has skyrocketed. Just peeing into the toilet. And with, you know, filtration and cleaning, like we end up drinking that. This is like, I know this probably sounds weird and you're thinking, no, that's not how it happens. But like, this is literally just like the water filtration system. We drink the same water as the dinosaurs did. But there's a crucial step we're missing, which is the filtration of hormones. So we've mentioned BPA so far, right? BPA is just, we can say, one chemical that's in plastics that we know for a fact is estrogenic, right? So BPA is just one chemical that's in plastics, right? There's a rise recently of people talking about BPA for really good reason, and that BPA is extremely bad for us, right? So what people have spoke about is with plastic bottles, and like consumers, you know, like normal people are telling companies, okay, we won't settle for anything which isn't like BPA free. And so like, you know, companies are making new water bottles that have got BPA free and everything. But if they're plastic, they've just got other ingredients in them. It's still plastic. And so BPA acts like estrogen, right? And there's a few things here which you might not have thought of. Credit cards, which we keep in our wallet, which we put next to our balls. And you know the one that hurts me personally, that genuinely hurt me, that I had surgery for at the start of this year. I genuinely had like a full-on surgery, like they put me to sleep and everything. They snipped my balls and everything. I'm not even, like, I know this sounds like silly or something, like this is actually serious. Like this is like, there's a medical condition called varicocele for men, and a lot of men have it. And it's when the veins in your balls essentially feel like they've just like clamped up and become like a big, like they get tangled up essentially. The veins in your balls, or usually on one side, just suddenly gets like tangled up. And it's somewhat painful, but it's like a dull pain. It's like a 1 out of 10 pain, but it's just there 24/7, so you kind of ignore it sometimes, right? But it's actually one of the biggest causes of infertility as well. Like people who have that, men who have a varicocele, are drastically more likely to be infertile than men who don't. And you can just check if you've got one. Obviously, I'm not a doctor or something, so you should go get like an examination or whatever. But you can check if you've got one. Literally just grab your balls and feel like above your balls, like more towards like the inside of you. And just kind of like slightly, very like softly press on like the veins that are there. And usually on your right side, you'll feel that, yep, you know, there's like a few, like 2 veins or something. Okay, that's normal. But then if you feel on your left, if you feel the exact same thing, there's nothing else. Yeah, 2 lines of veins. Okay, no, that's fine. But if you feel like a clump of veins, that's most likely a varicocele. It might feel like a bag of worms that are like, you know, like all tangled up like worms, right? And you can feel the texture and everything. That's a varicocele. I got it, noticed it for a while, eventually got surgery, right? And when I heard of BPA and that there is a hyper concentrated amount of BPA on receipts, like, do you know when you go to a store, you go to the cashier, you buy it with your card or with cash, and would you like your receipt? And they give you the receipt. There is a hyper concentrated amount of BPA on there. There's not like plastic on there, but it's like the chemical that they use to make this kind of receipt paper that they, you know, they pull out of the card machine. There's a hyper concentrated amount of that when you get a receipt. And I don't know about you, but I think a lot of guys can say this. When you get a receipt as a man, where do you put it? You take out your wallet, you put it in your wallet, you put your wallet back on your left side, which I assume, right, this could just be me just trying to like jump to conclusion, but I'm pretty sure that most guys will keep their phone on their right pocket and their wallet on their left. If you're based and you know this stuff already, you'll probably think, no, I keep both in like some like EMG free bag or something, right? But for most guys, probably phone on the right side, wallet on the left, am I right? Wallet on the left side with 20 receipts in there, which have got a hyper concentrated amount of BPA next to your balls. And the overwhelming majority of men who get varicoceles, it's on the left side, and no one's really been able to figure out why. Like, maybe there's something different between our left and right side, and maybe that's why. But is this a far-fetched like conspiracy theory that I'm onto here? But I always kept mine on my left, bro. I kept a wallet with like 20 receipts in my pocket on the left for years without really knowing it was a bad thing. And then, right, there's also the new plastic notes, cash notes. So in the UK, we transitioned to like plastic, like £5 note, £10 notes, like years ago. We used to have like papery ones. And I don't know whatever country you're from, you might have seen this recently, maybe in your country or some like close countries, that like we don't have the old paper notes anymore. The new ones that are being made are literally like this plasticky material, which we put in our wallet on the left side. So the UK has got plastic notes now. Like every cash machine you go to has got plastic notes. They've ruled out like the paper ones, and like the plastic ones are the only ones that the banks give out right now. And the government's like told them to maybe do that. I went to Thailand, and even there as well, literally just plastic notes, plastic notes, plastic notes. You know what I'm talking about, right? Like plasticky material in a note. I've even got some here. I don't even want to show you. I don't even want to touch it. But we used to have like paper cash notes. And now there's like plastic ones that we keep in our wallets next to our balls. And we touch this, right? And we touch this BPA when the cashier gives you a receipt. Like, think about the last time you went to a shop or something, or a restaurant or whatever, and the cashier gives you a receipt and you take the receipt, right? And you touch it with your fingers. That's a hyper amount of BPA that's like literally seeping inside of your skin and everything, right? So what do? So you just, okay, put this receipt away, go wash your hands, put some soap on your hands, use some of the hand sanitizer that they put everywhere these days, right? The hand sanitizer that they put everywhere. You can go into any shopping mall, any restaurant, bro, there's a hand sanitizer on every table, right? The newest studies are showing that if you use hand sanitizer after touching BPA, it makes it 100 times worse. 100 times worse. That's comparable to that 7-day exposure that we mentioned in with the study of the fish with the BPA. That's a comparable number to them. There's some weird chemical reaction in a lot of hand sanitizers and soaps and hand washes. And what it does when you've got BPA on your fingers, it makes it up to 100 times worse. We can't even fathom that. That seems like a big number, bro. We can't even fathom it. 100 times worse. If I told you and it makes it 3 times worse, we'd be shocked. 100 times worse is like, we can't even imagine what the fuck's going on here. And now my heart goes out to the poor souls who are working some shit job as a waiter or whatever. You're behind the desk and you touch receipts all day, all day, all day. And I did that, bro. I was going through puberty doing that. I was working at my dad's shop, literally, like, he had a corner store, and, like, you know, we got the cash machine there. My dad's teaching me how to do it. Oh, here's the roll of the paper that's got all the shit on it that goes inside of the little cash machine. Okay, here you go. Would you like your receipt? Here you go. An hour later, I'm, like, jacking off or something, like touching my dick with the same fingers, bro. At this point, I would not be surprised if you didn't believe me. Genuinely, like, it'd be, like, good for you to not believe what I'm saying and to do your own research and to critique and everything. Because this sounds, like, unreasonable. But I think that this is genuinely, like, the hidden reason of low testosterone for most guys. Because, not for most guys, okay? Well, for most guys, for every guy. But there's a lot of guys who, for example, need to be told, okay, fix your sleep. There's a lot of guys who need to be told, yeah, stop eating that weird junk food that you're eating, stop eating the sugar and stuff. Oh, you drink alcohol? Yeah, stop that, right? Every testosterone video you've watched online is basic as fuck, isn't it? It's always the same thing, like 7 ways to improve your I've done these videos as well. 7 ways to improve your testosterone. Number 1, fix your sleep. Number 2, don't drink alcohol. Like, it's this stuff that, like, once you've been on self-improvement for like 3 months, you don't need to hear this shit anymore, right? We can always improve our sleep a little bit, but fine, but, like, we've got to a good level, right? And if you're watching this 30 minutes in, you're probably not an alcoholic. You're probably not someone who needs to be told, yeah, don't eat 200 grams of sugar a day. Don't eat fucking the anabolic diet by, what's his fucking name? Coach Greg or whatever the fuck. Like, oh yeah, pancake, like fucking bodybuilders. Oh yeah, pancakes and shit, right? You probably have surpassed that level of ignorance, right? You don't eat 200 grams of sugar a day. You don't eat ultra processed little, like, colorful packages of Doritos, of Mountain Dew, soft drinks. A few months in to fixing your life, you realize that's not the right way to live, right? You didn't need anyone recently to tell you, yeah, this is the way to improve your testosterone. Number 1, don't drink out. Like, we knew this, right? So for you, the young man on self-improvement, you've probably felt the same way as me, where you feel like there's been something missing. Like, I'm doing these things that every YouTuber spoke about, this testosterone, every article online, every little doctor who's mentioned testosterone. I'm doing all of them. They're all saying sleep and, oh yeah, exercise. I've been doing all of them. So why is my testosterone still 500 to 600? And people will hear that and be like, oh, but that's pretty good, dude. It's like, it's pretty good compared to the modern person, but I'm not trying to be like pretty good compared to these people, bro. Come on. I know I sound like a dickhead, but I don't give a fuck, bro. I'm not trying to be like slightly higher testosterone than the average guy, bro. I want to be 2 or 3 times more like the average man's testosterone. I want to be like matching my great grandfather's level and maybe surpassing that. People think this is extremist, bro. I don't care. I want to feel like a real man. And I think that comes down to testosterone. And I think once you've passed the fundamentals, and of course we can always improve our sleep a little bit more. Of course our diet, like, oh yeah, we shouldn't have had the that little treat 3 weeks ago. Okay, fine. There's always a little bit to improve on. I'm not saying, yeah, we should just give up on self-improvement. But when you get to a point when you start to wonder, like, there's something missing. You probably feel the same way. There's something else that's messing us up. And I think we've uncovered it now. I think it's these random, like, this thing that we never even comprehended, that there's literally, like, just objects all around us that are reducing our testosterone. That they're increasing our estrogen, which is then impacting our testosterone. Some of these things are directly affecting our testosterone, actually. So what can we actually do about it? What are some practical... I don't want this to be like, some motivational video and it's like, yeah, go on, just go research, bro. I've done some research for you. There's some practical things that we can do right here, right now, that will actually help you. There's 2 mindsets that I want you to have right now, which I think are quite empowering. Number 1, a lot of the progress that you make here will feel invisible. Okay? A lot of the progress that you're going to make here with some of the things I'm going to recommend will feel invisible. Like, you won't really feel that much of a difference to begin with because we've been infected for literally decades. Remember, like, I've been drinking milk. Like, I was 5 years old being handed milk by some ignorant, uneducated teacher who thought it was healthy because she believed the media. She believed big milk when they told everyone that milk is healthy for our bones and it's full of estrogen. We've been like literally poisoned from birth. No, we've been not even from birth, bro. We like literally from birth. Okay, fine. Like whatever. Like, this hasn't been from birth. This has been from your parents' birth. We were poisoned before our life even began. When we were literally just sperm inside of our dad, he was poisoned. And like you saw, I don't think anything I've told you in this video is like crazy or toxic or anything. But I'm sure there's going to be some people, yeah, right, dude, you know, always the soft guys who will always react to videos like this and be like, oh, he's being over dramatic, bro. I think the over dramatic bit is going to start now. And I still don't think what I'm about to say is that over dramatic, but our infertility rate is 20%. Roughly around the world, roughly 20%. Which in line with that fish study, and of course I'm comparing humans to fish and stuff, right? But in line, we're roughly the first generation who have literally lived our entire life from absolute like inception, like contraception, whatever it is, like, you know, the moment our father's sperm impregnated our mother's egg, from that moment when we became like a living creature, we've been poisoned. We're the first generation, and it's 20% infertility rate, and they've drastically increased. I think we're going to see an exponential growth in infertility. I think we're going to see such a growth of infertility caused by estrogenics, especially caused by plastics, that this will be one of the most common talked about things by doctors, by governments in the next few years. We first thought that we needed to get rid of plastics because of the environment, because of climate change. Now we're going to realize the human race might literally be on track to becoming extinct. We genuinely are on track to becoming extinct. I hope that, you know, with how as a race we've always overcome everything, that we are going into this direction, but then the scientists and the entrepreneurs make changes, and the governments eventually follow through like 10, 20 years later when everyone's already sick for so long, and eventually our like trajectory changes. But if nothing changes, this will genuinely end the human race. Or it will lead to scientists and technological developments where we don't actually have our children anymore, and like there's a different way. There's like infertility companies that actually do some kind of, I don't know, gene modification or something. You know, there's already lots of infertility companies that help infertile couples still have children. There's going to be a lot more of those. I've literally thought, I've not started this just yet, so I'm not going to tell you any specifics, but I've thought that might be like a good area to look into for careers and also for investing. I genuinely think infertility like companies and the market for those things, those machines and whatever there is in that area, I've not looked into it just yet. I think that's going to blow up because I think we're going to need it. A simple mindset that you can carry with you, which I could eventually be proven wrong, but it seems to me to be the case, to literally just think plastics equal bad. Plastics are bad. Just that simple. I think you're safer doing that, thinking, okay, I don't want to touch any plastics, I don't want any plastics around me, than you are thinking, oh, let me see, like, is this plastic? Oh, it's BPA free. Whew. And then we don't know if it's got this, like, you know, this bottle, this supplement bottle next to me, it might have some extra chemical ingredient that we don't know, but it's told us BPA free, and we think that's fine. Where literally, if you've thought this so far and you've bought BPA free stuff, you're literally the equivalent of your mother who buys fat free stuff. It's like, we're based now. We know when our mum brings home fat-free yogurt, like, we look at it at the back. It's like, yeah, look at the sugar content. It's 4 times the sugar that it's supposed to be. Look at the extra shit, the sucrose, weird-ass ingredients that they've put in because they've just stripped out the fat. It's because it's marketing, because stupid people, ignorant, uneducated people buy it. And we're now the same when we think about BPA-free. So don't think about BPA-free. Literally just think, plastics are bad. Plastics are bad. Plastics are bad. And guess what? You wouldn't even realize what plastics are in, bro. What do you think your bedsheet is made out of? Polyester. What ingredient do you think is in every bit of clothing that you wear? You think it's cotton? You think it's wool? I'm telling you right now, even with something like fluffy, like bathrobes are the only thing that you could be safe with, because it's literally just cotton. Why do you think I wear this shit, bro? Your underwear. You know, it's kind of like stretchy, isn't it? Like, imagine literally putting on a pair of boxers like underwear. It's kind of stretchy. It's not wool. It's not cotton. It's polyester. A plastic. Your toothbrush made from plastic. Your pillowcase, your bedsheet, your blanket made from plastic. The phone case that you put in your phone into, next to your balls, plastic. You buy a leather phone case because you know, oh, well, leather's not got plastic. But I bought a leather phone case thinking I was being smart. You open it up and there's still like a bit of plastic so that the phone can actually fit into it. I don't keep a fucking phone case on anymore. I'd rather just take the L if my phone breaks. I've still got like the tempered screen glass thing. So it's like, okay, if the screen breaks, it's hopefully the little screen protector. Everything you buy, bro. Go to the supermarket, go buy some vegetables. Vegetables are good for you, right? They're wrapped in plastic. How about some steak? Steak's one of the best foods, micro ingredients, everything that's good for you. It's wrapped in plastics. Now you can go absolutely crazy with this. There's a list of like 15 things I'll breeze through right now. You can go obsessive with this. I wouldn't really recommend that. I'm an extreme person, so I'm going to. I wouldn't recommend it to like the general population, but if you're anything like me, you're gonna be that annoying family member that's telling your mom right now, no, we don't use plastics anymore. No, throw these away. I mean, chalo na, like you're trying to tell her like, oh, this plastic cup that she's like microwaving. I'm like, no. So I'm going to tell you a list of things. My camera's going to die, so we're going to like breeze through them very fast. This is just pinpoint, okay, practical advice, literally no BS. This is exactly what you can do, fast things. I highly recommend to you, literally just listen out for 1 or 2 or 3 things that I'm about to give you right now, things you can do. And go focus on them first. The ones that resonate with you, that you like, don't like force yourself to do any of these. Literally just think to yourself, oh yeah, I could probably do that like right now. The idea is pick 1, 2, or 3 and literally go and do them or get it or whatever it is, literally today, tomorrow, and every day for the rest of your life. That's the idea, right? So pick 1 thing, 2 things, and genuinely try to make like forever, like the rest of your life you will do this thing. So make sure it's something that you genuinely could do with some level of ease. Then maybe you can come back to this video in like 2 months and actually pick out another thing, right? Number 1, supplements with omega-3 fish oils. This one's in a glass bottle as well. Omega-3, actually this bottle might be still fucking plastic, bro. It's like, omega-3 fish oils are shown to help with the problems of estrogen, which is just a fast little thing that you can take. Avoid vegetable oils and seed oils. You've probably heard about seed oils recently. They're pretty toxic for us. Pretty much the only oil that you should probably use might just be like vegetable oil. And for fats that you want to cook in, you should use ghee, which is like an Indian thing, or full fat grass-fed butter. Make sure, especially in the UK, I don't know about other countries, but in the UK, most butter is actually not butter. Like, you know, there was these dickhead, bro, the amount of adverts that I would see on TV years ago where it's like, oh, I can't believe it's not butter, it's flora, like, you know, some vegetable oil shit. And our parent, like, bro, still to this day, we've got 4 tubs of this shit inside of our fridge because my mum sees a little picture of the little flour and thinks that it's healthy. Oh, it's not butter, it's lower fat than butter. Yeah, because it's got sunflower oil. Because it's got seed oils. The whole point is that you cook your food with fat, bro. Our ancestors have done this for 20,000 years, for 100,000 years. Why would you not do what they did? No, none of our ancestors were obese. None of them had heart disease. They died from the tiger, fine, but things are different. If we merge their diet and the way that they lived with our modern like safety, like you'll become a superhuman compared to the average person. You cook your food in fat sometimes, right? If you need to, like eggs or something, you're not just gonna do it on like a dry plate or something, right? With full fat, like old school style fat. The kind of butter that's it's like a rectangle brick and it's wrapped in tin foil and you look at it, it says full fat, grass fed, salted or unsalted is fine. Salted is actually better for you. Salt's good for us, by the way, if you didn't realize. Like I keep fucking salt next to me and I literally put salt in my water. That's a separate video, but I put salt in my water and everything. Bro, everything that we've been told in the last 10, 20 years, that's, oh, lower your salt intake, guys. My mum, every single time I'm about to put some salt and she's like, oh, Hamza, salt kam karo, heart ke liye nahi thi. I'm like, oh. Dr. Huberman ne kya hai, salt theek hai hamare liye. Like, it's good for us. Like, bro, fat and salt are actually incredibly vital and healthy for us. You've been told that these are bad, that we should take these out of our diet, and food tastes horrible if you do that. But the companies will put in extra sugar for you instead. And now metabolic syndrome, obesity, fucking heart disease, everything's on the rise, bro. You can't trust any, especially like experts, especially your fat doctor. Like my mum's fat doctor, she comes home with a sad look on her face. Oh, he's told me that my cholesterol's too high, so I need to lower my fat. That's not how it works. Your fat doctor's an idiot. Your cholesterol's too high because of sugar. Cholesterol is a good thing. It's cholesterol. I'm going on a rant, man, but just in case you're interested, cholesterol's kind of like a firemen who come to put out a fire. The fire is insulin. The fire is sugar. And the firemen are there, like cholesterol, to put it out to help you. And your fat doctor says, oh, your cholesterol levels are too high. No, it's not because of you've been eating too, like, the 20 grams of fat that my mum eats a day. It's because you have this, like, sugar pastry every single day. It's because you put sugar in your coffee. It's because you think it's normal and it's pretty healthy to have a slice of cake every single day. That's the problem. What the fuck does your fat doctor know about it? He's got a testosterone lower than like a 90-year-old and he can't even run a mile. And I know I sound crazy because I'm defying, oh my god, that doctor is educated. But how is he educated if he can't even live what he preaches? Don't just trust me either, bro. I'm just a guy in a bathrobe on the internet. I've just done my own research. My health has improved drastically. My health and fitness is absolutely top tier. I track my stats. My health is drastically going up. I've got a full blood test going soon, which I'll show you, which won't be amazing just yet because I'm only like base for a little bit. But when I do another blood test in like 6 to 9 months and I show you that literally like any problems that we saw, anything like that have been completely reversed by me just living like our cavemen ancestors, but with also modern day sort of technology, you know, some good things. Number 3, so no seed oils, right? Number 3, avoid soy and flaxseed. A lot of fitness guys thinks flaxseed is healthy because it's got some micronutrients and stuff, but flaxseed, it's got very high estrogen, and soy is renowned for having high estrogen. A lot of like vegans and stuff argue this point, and there's a debate with like the extra chemicals. I don't know the science. I'm just not gonna have soy. Simple as that. I just don't give a shit. I don't like it enough to think, yeah, but there might be some. I don't give a fuck, bro. Just soy and flaxseed. I don't ever need to eat them ever again. Number 4. Lose body fat. So estrogen is stored in essentially your estrogen receptors are all over your body, all over your skin, and also in fat. And so technically, if you're lower body fat percentage, you should be able to like kind of get rid of some of the estrogen that was stored in the fat. And this is kind of like, you know, we can relate to it because we're into fitness. You don't need to get like, you know, dick skin shredded, bodybuilder shredded or anything, because that comes with its own health consequences. You just need to get to like, just don't be fat. Don't have like a pudge. Don't lie and say you're bulking or anything. If you're above 20% body fat, you're fat. Don't shut the fuck up about bulk or anything. If you're above 20% body fat, like, you should feel some level of shame and cut that down, honestly. 10 to 20% is a wide range, but I think pretty much 100% of men can follow that. Be 10 to 20%. I think if you go underneath that, for most guys, some guys have got different genetics, right? But if you go below that, you start getting health consequences. If you go above it, you look bad, you feel bad, you're slow, you're lethargic, and you can cope all you want. That, oh, but my bench press is going up. But it's like, bro, you're losing your health with it. So, well, that's just me anyway. Like, I think it's good to bulk, especially in your first few years of training. I really still push that to you, but I just wouldn't turn your bulk into more of an anxiety bulk. If you're bulking right now, thinking that, yeah, no one's going to mess with me if I eat this, it's like, you're not bulking because of fitness reasons. You're bulking because you've got a mental disorder, and this is coming from someone who had the same problem. Number 5, sauna. So this is very interesting. Huberman has been talking about this on his podcast. Bunch of influencers have been saying this, bunch of books have been saying this recently. The benefits of going into a sauna very frequently are massive, and the Western world is just finding this out. People in like Russia and those kinds of countries have been like big fans of the sauna for a while. Russians are like level 10 sauna enthusiasts. I walk into like a public sauna, like a big one, and there's always a group of Russians doing some weird shit, like they're lying down, like one of the women stood there with like a plant, like brushing it on her nose. Then one of them will put extra water into the sauna, get his towel and like whip it around. I'm like, god damn, that's like a special attack I haven't unlocked yet. Sauna is really good for you because it makes you sweat, and the idea is that in a simple way, okay, when we sweat we lose estrogen. Not really. It's like, okay, the heat makes molecules move faster, and when molecules move faster, it also means that they'll kind of escape your system more, and there'll be more of a detoxification. Just make it simple. The more you sweat, the more estrogen that will come out of your body. There was actually a study that I once read which showed that when people went into the sauna with a little patch that was going to like pick up on chemicals and stuff, and they sweated a lot, they went off, tested the patch, and the patch was covered in like estrogen and all other chemicals that essentially like had left their body, which is a really good thing, compared to like a control group that didn't sweat as much, and, you know, like just to see, okay, well, does estrogen come off every hour? And it didn't. So it's like, okay, just try and sweat a lot. Train with like a hoodie, sweat when you train. That's a really good feeling, and exercise apparently is, like sweating with exercise is apparently even better than being in a sauna because your muscles contracting, and that also, it's like good. So essentially just heat your body up to the point that you're sweaty pretty much every day. Go into the sauna. I'm literally getting a sauna built in my house because I just don't want to commute like half an hour or something to a gym to use one there, and you know there's friction there. Saunas aren't terribly expensive. Like I thought it'd just be unrealistic, but then I saw it's like £1,000, so you can just save up for it, like if you've got the means to do so. And if not, a gym membership, sometimes there's saunas in gyms for like $50, $100 a month if you can afford it. That's what I think. Even though some people might hear this and say, oh, but that's a rip-off and you know I don't have the money, I personally see it as an investment, or like a return on investment. Going to the gym for a month, $100 a month or something, is it going to give you the health and productivity that's above $100 for the month? Like, yeah, for most people, yeah. If you've got like a high impact leverage skill business, if you're like able to make quite a lot of money, if I improve my productivity and health by 1%, that's probably worth a few thousand a month these days, or at least a few hundred a month these days, right? Number 6, how many times do I have to tell you? Avoid plastics. BPA free is a cope. That's it. You need to see, like, the only way that you know for certain is that you literally see estrogenic free on the title, on like the label, which I promise you've never seen that before, and we won't see it for a long time. I don't think we'll ever even see it. You won't touch some plastic thing and it says estrogenic free. They'll always say, oh, a BPA free bottle. It's still plastic. So they get to advertise that they've just taken out the BPA, like BPA sort of chemical, but then they've still got to make it with something that's still plastic. So they've put in other chemicals which are just as bad. People have like this close-minded view that, like, it was a few years ago that people were proper pushing companies to make it all BPA. Oh, BPA is a problem. It's not BPA that's a problem. It's just plastic. So don't use, just literally just keep looking around, and I guarantee just don't touch plastic shit, and like throw some shit away. Get some like glass containers. This is for my salt. I've got like a big fucking thing of nuts here, so I just snack on these through the day and everything. And of course, like, you can't save yourself from all plastics, of course you can't, right? So there's a few things, like sometimes I'll take the L and I'll use a plastic pen or something. I'm not like some weirdo who like, I need to write, but I'm not, do you know what I mean? You can certainly go to the level that you can maintain at for the rest of your life. But I do think there is value in going quite extreme and obsessive for some time. Like, this is my personality. Some people get to like level 5 and they'll maintain it for the rest of their lives. I've always been a guy who will go level 10 and then kind of drop down to like level 2, then level 10, then level 10. And in the end, it's kind of like I maintained level 5. But I'm like an extreme on and off kind of guy, at least. But I'm not sure if I'd ever go off thinking about this stuff, to be honest. There's a lot more plastic than you think, bro. Literally, like, your toilet, the actual ceramic bit is obviously fine, but the toilet seat where you put your ass, toilet seats are almost always plastic. Your toothbrush, plastic. Have a look when you go into your bathroom, and then it's like, if you just stand there and just keep looking, you'll get bored, and then just keep looking. And then just keep looking, and you'll pick out so much more. Like, you would have looked into your bathroom for like 5 minutes and then been like, oh, fuck, the shower curtains are all plastic. Wait, every bottle of soap, of shampoo, of conditioner, why are they all in plastic? Avoid food in plastic if possible. So most food is packaged in plastic. If you visualize getting like a 6-pack of apples, it's not like you go to the shop and you just, oh, like you hold them like this. They're in a clear plastic bag. And this even the same with meat when you go to a supermarket. Supermarkets are like one big processing step extra, which is a bad thing, compared to going directly to the farmers and the butchers and everything. So if you can, if it is somewhere nearby, try and find a butcher, like a meat shop. Try and find like a farmer's shop where you can buy, like you'll know it because it's quite like a weirdly like almost old school looking shop where like they'll literally have all the fruit on the outside in literally just cardboard boxes, and then none of it's got plastic. So you go there and they'll have plastic bags for you to put it into, but you could bring like your own school bag or something and just put them in there with no cover, you know, like vegetables and stuff. Or you could bring like a cardboard box in the back of your car and literally like fill them all in there. Okay, buy it. They'll say, oh, I'll wrap it up for you. I'll put it in a bag for you. So no, it's okay. No bag, it's fine. So that's one big processing step that you could skip. Use metal water bottles. This is a stainless steel one. You literally just search. Make sure you don't search for BPA free. You search for like literally like full 100% stainless steel. And make sure, so this brand is called Super Sparrow. I'll link everything that I use in the description. I'll try and see if I can get affiliate links as well. This brand is called Super Sparrow. It's from Amazon. It's cheap. It's like $15. And it comes with 2 attachments, and for a long time, I used the one which was a plastic attachment at the top with a straw, like a little sippy cup, and then like it's still plastic. You're putting it into your lips, bro. So now this, I use this one, so it has both options. And this is literally now, this has got 100% plastic free. That's it. What else have we got? Avoid plastic material in your pillowcases, in your bed sheets. Often you can go and have a look and like even feel like your bed sheet next to you. It's like a lot of this stuff that we use, once you pick up on this, you'll realize like a lot of this has like some kind of plasticky polyester material. So just be careful for that. And you can actually find some like 100% cotton pillowcases and stuff. So just have a look at that. Just be vigilant for any kind of plastic. You can literally be the guy now where when you're about to buy something, you look at like the material or the ingredients and it says like, oh, 50% nylon. And you're like, okay, is nylon a plastic? Is it estrogenic? You copy and paste the word nylon into Google and write estrogenic next to it. And it's like, oh, there's 4 studies that show it is. So, okay, I'll close it. I'm not getting that shit. Oh, okay, 100% cotton. Yeah, I'm pretty sure cotton doesn't have plastic. Let me just double check, right? I'm not going to tell anyone that I'm that stupid. Oh, yeah, cotton, of course, doesn't have any plastic in it. Okay, that's fine. Sweet. Avoid plastics in your clothes. Polyester and nylon in your clothes, bro. Any shirt and pants which isn't like this soft, fluffy material, it's got plastics in it. Like, you know, the gym shirts, you know, the kind of like gym shirts that are like somewhat of like, it's hard to say, like a kind of like a football shirt. What do you think it's made out of, bro? Only like clothing should only really be wool and cotton. That's their like natural ingredients. Wool comes from sheep that we've had for tens of thousands of years, hundreds of, you know what I mean? Like humans have been wearing that shit. And cotton is like a plant. That they're natural ingredients, that's what we should be looking for. 100% cotton shirt, for example. These days, you get these gym shirts, 95% polyester. Because it's like, you can imagine like some gym shirt, it's like a plasticky, like, it's not like a cotton feeling, it's not a real feeling, it's been made in some like weird shop and it leaks estrogen in you. Especially, one point I didn't write here is, especially plastics that get warmed up makes it worse. You can probably imagine this, right? So, like, eating out of a plastic cup thing is like bad, but if you microwaved it, it would get worse, because just, you can imagine for some reason, I don't know the science, but for some reason warming up like the plastic, like heating it up would make it worse, because like we thought with ourselves with the sauna, when we heat it up, the molecules move and you kind of sweat and it gets released a bit more, but it gets released outside of us. But when you heat up some plastic, it's probably going to make the estrogenic thing of it worse. So when you wear gym shirts and you get proper sweaty in them, it's probably going to like make it easier for you to like, for the plastic of the gym shirt to seep in. Make sure you look at this with your underwear, with sports clothing, with, if, let's say you're going to go to the sauna, make sure you've got 100% cotton or wool towel. Like, you can see we're getting obsessive, but the idea is literally just pick like 2 or 3. I'm doing most of these. I'm the obsessive guy, right? Where are we? Support companies that are helping us with this. So you want to find some like no plastic companies. What I found is Amazon's not really that good for this, because oftentimes on Amazon, if you're looking for something, they will kind of write sometimes what the ingredients are, but not much. So what I've personally done is I went and found some UK based companies that actually do literally all plastic, like no plastic, plastic free materials. I won't lie, none of them are actually based about estrogenics. Like, none of them actually think about male issues or anything. They're all based on like the environment and climate change, and, you know, plastic's bad for climate change and stuff. Like, we don't really give a fuck about that. We just care about testosterone. So they're not totally on our like wavelength, but like they're still doing no plastic stuff. So like there's one company which is called Peace with the Wild in the UK. Everything's linked below, so you can just go have a look in just like 2 minutes. Let me just finish off everything I can say to you, so you've got some ideas. And literally just like, once you find a good company that like that, and it's, you know, it's not on Amazon, so it feels a little bit low key, maybe like, okay, just make sure they're going to deliver it to you and stuff, fine. And once you've like, I've gotten a delivery from these guys, they've sent me, I'm not affiliated with them or anything, this company here, like this family-based company. And this is like lip balm, which is 0% plastic. This is deodorant now, which doesn't have any fragrance or anything. So it's like all like cardboardy type of stuff. My toothbrush as well, I've replaced that. I don't use a plastic, like professional toothbrush anymore, like an electric one. I have like a bamboo toothbrush. From what I've seen online, you know, the bristles of the toothbrush, like the actual bit that you rub your teeth with, they kind of seem to need to be like nylon, which you've got to take the L essentially. It's like, you can't have like a 100% no plastic toothbrush, from my small bit of research online. So you can just have a look, right? So try and support some companies that are doing this, because the more that you buy from companies that are like, you know, big stance on like, yeah, we hate plastics, no plastics, no plastics in our delivery, no plastics in this, no harmful chemicals, it's like the more those companies will grow. Like, you're literally investing in a company when you buy from it. When you buy from Amazon, you're kind of investing in Amazon, which still isn't terrible. But make sure when you're buying some random product on Amazon, just have a look at like the company that's selling it, and have a look, because if they've not wrote the material for something, chances are it's not good. They're not on the same wave like length, because they broadly say no plastic, right? Because that's a marketing thing these days. It's like, oh, look at us, we're sustainable. So if on Amazon there's something that doesn't say plastic free in the text description, most likely it's not. So just be careful of which companies you support. I say we kill off the companies that are serving us this poison, because they kind of know some of the things right now. We all need more education, of course, but I say we slowly start to like rule out the companies that like, just stop spending money on the companies that just give us this shit, for example. Just simple as that. Obviously, like, I still expect companies to take some time, but like, if they seem arrogant with it, if they seem like, you know, they're not listening to this new stuff of like, yeah, we hate plastics, they're bad for the environment. So like, that sort of like soft group of people are on our side, because they're like, they hate plastics because it's climate change and stuff. We hate plastics because we only care about testosterone. So it's like, okay, we'll handshake each other, like, okay, let's do this. Don't take the receipt. So when you go to a shop and they, oh, would you like a receipt? No! But like, would you like, bro, in Thailand they did this a lot, bro. They'd take the receipt, wouldn't ask you, and they'd put it on your cash note and then give it to you, like her fingers touching it. Oh man. And I'd literally like grab my cash, say no receipt, no receipt, no receipt, and they'd take it with like, you know, there's always smile and stuff. I remember seeing this one like paranoid looking motherfucker, bro. He literally came in into a restaurant first with a mask on, right? First thing, went to the hand sanitizer all of his hands, ordered his food, grabbed the receipt, used the hand sanitizer again before he left. I don't know if it's a conspiracy theory or whatever, bro, but there's a hand sanitizer little fucking squeezy bottle on every restaurant table these days. I'm not touching hand sanitizer for the rest of my life. I don't give a fuck, bro. It's some unnatural ingredient. When you think about it, it's like, what the fuck is actually in it? I don't give a fuck. I'll use soap when I absolutely have to. But even then, it's like, I've realized that I've probably been washing my hands like too much for most of my life. I don't know. This is something that I'm a bit uncertain of, because soap has got antibacterial stuff, which is good for you. But apparently these things, hand sanitizer, soaps, like most soaps, hand wash, they apparently can make BPA worse. So I'd do more research on that. I don't know the answer fully. Don't keep a wallet full of receipts close to your balls, bro. Please learn from my mistake. Don't keep a wallet full of receipts close to your balls. Avoid modern food. This is very extreme, but if you want to switch over to the diet that I'm on, which feels like this is the best I've ever felt in my life. This is the most healthy I've ever felt. Avoid modern foods. Literally, the best case scenario is to eat what I eat, which is literally just meat, vegetables, fruits, and nuts. That's pretty much just all that I eat. I literally just eat meat, vegetables, fruit, and nuts, and I have like eggs and stuff. And you know, like sometimes I'll cope a little bit. I'll have a slice of wholemeal toast, like brown bread with my eggs. I'll have avocados and stuff. Okay, avocados still fine. Sometimes I'll have like a little bit of rice or something. You know, it's not 100% like this, but it's like mostly my diet is literally just a fuck ton of meat, vegetables, a lot of fruit as well. I get most of my carbs from fruit these days. Like I'll have like 4 apples a day and a huge amount of blueberries and bananas. It's like, it's got fructose in it, it's got sugar in it, but then it's got fiber and vitamins. So it's like, it's this weird trade-off. And it's like, I'd rather just get my carbs from fruit and some like a fair amount of vegetables than I would from like some random grains that have been produced in the last 100 years. If your caveman ancestors didn't eat it 1,000 years, 10,000 or 100,000 years ago, you probably shouldn't either. Meat, vegetables, fruit, and nuts. Try and make that your baseline, and then you're gonna have some extra things. You're from India, so you have like naan or something. And you know, you don't want to give up like your culture's cuisine, because then you lose a lot of your life experience. But just try and stay mindful for it, and try and make some simple changes, because sometimes you can have a smaller bit of naan bread with your like chicken curry and still have the chicken. That's absolutely fine. You can make this change here. You can make this change here, and this is a lifelong journey to go on. But this is the diet that seems to be working absolute best for me. Make sure the meat that you eat is grass-fed, not grain-fed. So I've said that a few times today. Grass-fed simply just means that that animal was eating like grass, like out in the farm, instead of it was being locked up and it was just eating grains. There's still issues and stuff, fine, but if you're gonna eat meat, which most of us are, and I do think it's better to eat meat than not, then I would highly suggest getting the grass-fed ones, because what it means, like what grain-fed means, is that they eat this mass-produced, moldy, weird, like fucking disgusting little food that's making them sick, and also is gonna obviously pass on to like the meat that we're eating from them. We don't want to eat much grains. like, you know, the mass production of grains perfectly ties to the mass health consequences of people who eat a lot of like grains and breads and all this shit, pasta and stuff. It's like they're usually fat and unhealthy and lethargic as well. So you just take that as it is. You don't have to follow this advice. You could have a different diet if you want and just focus on other things. But at least for me, like, changing my diet's actually been the single greatest change that I've made for my health. Is I just eat meat, vegetables, fruit, nuts, eggs. That's literally just it. My diet's somewhat boring, but it's not, because, you know, sometimes like I'll cheat and, for example, I'll order like ribs from a place. I'll order steak from a place, and of course they put like extra stuff. They put some like, I don't know, some brown sugar seasoning or something like that, so it tastes way nicer, but it's got something which is a bit of coke. But it's like mostly I'm just eating meat, and so that's really nice for me. When animal feed is grain, so when animals eat grain food, like grains, often that has some other estrogenic shit in it, so they're eating estrogens, which is ZEA, atrazine, and essentially just don't eat like grain fed. Sometimes you'll see this in restaurants and they'll be like, oh, grain fed steak. When you see that, just probably get something else. When you see grass fed steak, then that's something that's better. Don't use normal toiletries like hand wash, toothpaste, shower gel, shampoo. All of the ingredients inside of them are all fucked. They're all weird chemicals. And also they're all in plastic bottles. Like, literally don't use normal stuff that when you go to the bathroom, whatever your family use. Most likely you shouldn't use any of that. You should then, again, go and find the natural ingredients and products, which, like the ones I had here, like these are all natural ingredients. This has got like lemongrass in it. So it's like, this is literally a real natural ingredient that hasn't been processed as much as these weird chemicals. When you can, like, literally, no matter what you use, you should be able to read the ingredient list like it's just in normal English. You should be able to read it. Like, the ingredient list of this is literally like, where is it? Like lemongrass, cocoa, herb oil. Like, it's like stuff you can understand. When you look at, go look at your bottle of shampoo, and it's like E13 neuroloxin fens. Like, what the fuck is that, bro? What are you, like, did our ancestors use that shit? Why the fuck are we using it? We don't even need it, bro. So the soap that I use for my body and my face in the shower, it's literally got like 5 ingredients in it. That's literally it. And toothpaste as well. Most toothpaste has got fluoride. You can go have a look. Most toothpaste, the bottle is got, the bottle's plastic. Like, you know, the little toothpaste, little plasticky bottle that you squeeze out of. It's plastic. And inside of it's got fluoride. And fluoride's been shown to decrease cancer, decrease testosterone. So the toothpaste I use is not even real toothpaste. It's like this, like, powdery thing from the same company, or like the company that kind of sells these. And it's in a glass bottle, and it's like powder. So I literally, you know, people have been asking me why my teeth look so white these days. It's because I don't use normal fucking toothpaste anymore. I'm not putting chemicals and shit. Like, the ingredients list of my toothpaste, like my tooth powder, there's like 4 ingredients in there now. Go and have a look at your little toothpaste bottle. There's a whole like 3 paragraphs, like the whole massive like 4 lines of text there for the ingredients. It's unacceptable, bro, especially with fluoride and other chemicals. You're putting it into your gums. Sometimes your gums get cut a bit from brushing or flossing, and it's going directly into like your bloodstream and stuff, bro. Disgusting, man. Final thing is get a charcoal water filter. So a water filter for your taps, for your shower and stuff. I haven't done this just yet. Maybe I'll speak about it in a later date, so I can't give you good advice. But it seems like that is the play. A bunch of smart people seem to have a huge like filtration system, and apparently it's as simple as just getting a water filter that has charcoal in it. You got to do your own research. Maybe I'll speak about it at a later date. That's the video.